Straight ahead on 12 News, the far-reaching effect of the Ferguson, Missouri decision as opinions spread through the halls of the North Hennepin campus. Plus, a council vote that impacts the future of Brooklyn Park's fire department.
This is a drastic change. It's a change from the way we've always done things.
But first, a Maple Grove priest speaking out against the archdiocese, what he's telling his congregation. 12 News starts right now. Hello and thanks for joining us. A Maple Grove priest is blaming a drop in donations on the Archdiocese of St. Paul in Minneapolis.
Father Mike Sullivan says parishioners are not giving as much because of the clergy sex abuse scandal. And 12 News reporter Sonia Goins just spoke with the father, and she joins us now with more on that. Sonia?
Right. Mike and Alex, Father Mike Sullivan of St. Joseph the Worker Church in Maple Grove says many parishioners are passing up the collection plate, and it's hurting day-to-day church operations.
The people are angry because they think the diocese isn't telling the story.
Now, Father Sullivan sent this letter to his congregation. He says the Archdiocese has failed to act responsibly. He also says they failed repeatedly to protect children or vulnerable adults. Father Sullivan says because of the Archdiocese handling of child abuse cases in the past, many in the congregation are not giving as much. He says he's seen a 40% drop in donations.
The weekend that we lost 40%, we were down $17,000 on one weekend. It's a lot of money, yes. I mean, if that were to be sustained over the course of the whole year, is that there's no way we could do any ministry.
Now, Father Sullivan says if donations don't pick up, local charities will suffer. He's asking the congregation to consider adding $10 to $20 more to their normal contributions. He also says that less than 6% of donations actually go towards the diocese. Now, Mike and Alex, the Archdiocese is not commenting. They say this is an issue between the pastor and his parish.
All right, thank you, Sonia.
Thanks, Sonia.
A high-speed chase overnight starts in Osseo and ends with a car crashing into a Brooklyn Park home. The Hennepin County Sheriff's Office says the driver of an SUV was speeding down 85th Avenue North when he tried to turn right onto Douglas Drive. The driver lost control and slammed into the side of this Brooklyn Park house. 3 people were in the house at the time, but nobody was hurt. The driver tried to run away from the scene before his arrest. Police say alcohol may have been a factor.
A Coon Rapids man has pleaded guilty to a drunken driving crash that killed a Brooklyn Center teenager last summer. According to the criminal complaint, Michael Van Wagner had a blood alcohol content of more than 3 times the legal limit. The complaint says Van Wagner clipped one driver's car not once but twice on Highway 252 in Brooklyn Park before slamming into another car. That crash killed 16-year-old Jason McCarthy. Prosecutors plan to seek the maximum 10-year sentence when Van Wagner is sentenced in February.
A drastic change for the Brooklyn Park Fire Department. That's how one city council member put it when the Brooklyn Park Council decided to replace part-time firefighters with full-time staff. Starting in 2015, Brooklyn Park will hire 18 full-time firefighters. That would increase full-time staff to 26. Brooklyn Park Fire Chief Ken Perlman says the change will help address the ongoing challenges of recruiting and retaining part-time firefighters. Perlman also believes the switch could save the city $1.5 million over the next decade. There would still be some reliance on part-time firefighters, but the city is counting on retirements and attrition to save on costs, and there's some concern that may not happen without letting some part-time firefighters go.
And if that attrition isn't happening fast enough, in order to make these numbers work, we have to step up. Very tough position to be in. I've been through it. I didn't like it then, and I don't like it now.
You can cut training and paper clips all you want, but at some point, if you want to continue to manage the budget, you get to people. And I know this wasn't easy to bring forward.
Brooklyn Park City Council did approve the change. Councilmember Bob Maida was the only no vote. Maida is concerned the cost savings won't add up.
Quick action by a resident and police leads to the arrest of a Minneapolis man attempting to break into a Robbinsdale home. It happened Tuesday along 36th Avenue. The homeowner was inside calling 911 when he saw a man peering through a window and heard breaking glass. When police got there, the suspect took off running but was arrested. It turns out he was wanted for other burglaries.
Minutes before we received this call, Minnetonka had put out an alert that they were looking for the same individual. as a suspect in multiple burglaries.
It's very scary, and it's very scary for the person that is home, especially if they're by themselves. So when we hear a call like that, we want to respond as quickly as possible.
Charges are now pending against the suspect. North Hennepin Community College took time to reflect on the grand jury's decision in Ferguson, Missouri.
Several students and faculty stood up and expressed anger and frustration with their decision not to indict the officer who shot and killed Michael Brown. Despite the heated emotions, one student said today's event was a good opportunity to start a thoughtful, peaceful conversation about racism here in Minnesota.
What we're doing here is a positive thing, and hopefully this continues on other campuses and continues in other communities, so we can show people that it is injustice and that it isn't right.
Several dozen people attended the gathering at the college's campus center.
It is definitely not business as usual, but officials at Golden Valley-based PRISM say an electrical fire on Monday could have been a lot worse. The fire knocked out power for the nonprofit, which provides food, clothing, and social services to low-income families. It could be 2 weeks to a month before they have the electrical back up and running, but the organization will rely on a generator in the meantime. Staff is packing up emergency food boxes for families in need, but their food supply is limited due to the fire. Donated clothing and thrift store items were also damaged. If you would like to help, PRISM is in immediate need of cash donations and also some staple food items. Those include pasta, cereal, and peanut butter.
Donations to school districts can also help students with supplies they need but may not be able to afford. In the Robbinsdale School District, $600 worth of headphones were recently donated to Lakeview Elementary by the headphone maker Retrack. With computer and iPad use, headphones are on most school supply lists, but not every family can afford them. That's where donations to the district can provide valuable support.
Kids have lots of different needs, whether they're material needs or social emotional needs, and trying to meet all of those needs is a challenge of the schools.
The Lakeview principal says her school receives about a dozen donations a year. Last school year, the Robbinsdale district received $1.3 million in gifts and local bequests. Coming up, a cautionary tale for people with diabetes, what eye doctors want to stress next.
And then later in sports, the newly combined Armstrong-Cooper boys hockey program gets set for a whole new era.
But first, a chance of snow on Wednesday, and we could get a coating to a couple inches.
The numbers are alarming. 1 out of every 11 Americans has diabetes.
The disease is associated with a variety of health problems, including vision disorders, even blindness. In today's Health Check, Delane Cleveland has more on what diabetics need to pay more attention to.
So this is the meter strips I take.
In Brian Nord's Plymouth home,
This is my insulin pump here.
a collection of glucose tablets and glucose reading gadgets sit at the ready.
That's telling me that my blood sugar right now is 98, which is pretty much ideal.
Brian is one of more than 29 million Americans living with diabetes.
Most people that see me wouldn't figure out that I have this chronic illness. And, it doesn't look like cancer, and, it doesn't look like AIDS.
In the past few years, he's become an advocate, taking part in walks and working to raise money to find a cure.
It's very important because if I don't take my medicine for one day, I'm in the hospital in the emergency room.
It's a serious concern, but for diabetics, blood sugar isn't the only thing they need to worry about.
Diabetic eye disease is actually the leading cause of preventative loss of vision and blindness that we see.
Dr. Tina McCarty of the Eye Care Center in Maple Grove says it's imperative that diabetics get comprehensive eye exams annually.
A lot of times, early diabetic eye disease is either symptom-free or the symptoms are so subtle that patients don't make that correlation.
After dilating a patient's pupils, she uses a lens to look for signs of diabetes, such as glaucoma or changes in the blood vessels.
Particularly leakage in the form of blood or fatty fluid that could indicate a problem, but it could also cause loss of vision.
As for Brian,
I'm more susceptible to cataracts and glaucoma because of being a diabetic.
He keeps close tabs on his vision, but he hopes for a day when they find a cure for diabetes.
There would be no better feeling in the world than that.
For Health Check, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
If an optometrist identifies something in the eye related to diabetes, they would correspond with the patient's physician, and the next steps could include injections or surgery. Coming up, a crystal mail carrier who's delivering much more than letters and packages this holiday season.
But first in sports, a new coach leads Park Center into the boys' basketball season. John Jacobson has that and more when we come back.
Well, there is a brand new hockey team in the Northwest Metro, although the players are not new to each other. I mean,
Right.
they either played with each other or maybe against each other.
Or probably both,
Yeah.
yeah, in the case of a lot of the players. So yes, it's kind of a new start, and we'll see how things go this year. The puck drops Tuesday night for a new era in boys hockey in the Robbinsdale School District. The newly combined Armstrong-Cooper Wings play their first game. The Wings have had a couple of weeks of practice together and trained in the summer too. Well, it's been a little different playing with some former rivals. Most of the guys have played together in youth hockey, and things have come together pretty well.
It's been going pretty good. We've been blending pretty good. It was nice to get the Cooper and Armstrong team together and just mesh. I think it's going to be a good season.
A bunch of us just played through the youth, so we just known each other ever since, and we just really come together as one and put our schools beside us and just came together as one.
There will be a lot of varsity veterans from last year's Armstrong and Cooper teams in the lineup. Armstrong was 9-15-1 last season, while Cooper was 8-18. The added depth from combining is noticeable.
We had over 61 kids come try out, and that's been the first time in a long time, I think, for both programs. And that provides us more depth. And numbers are always healthy. It's terrible cutting kids, but if you have numbers, it's a sign of a good program. It's a sign of a healthy program.
After the opener against St. Francis at East Bethel Arena Tuesday, the Wings have 3 straight games at New Hope Arena. That includes a ceremony honoring former Cooper coach Ken Staples, who passed away this year, and 50 years of Cooper hockey. That's at the December 6th game against Minnetonka. A new coach will lead Park Center's boys basketball team into the season opener Tuesday night. Gerard Curry is the Pirates' new head coach. He was the girls' coach at Stillwater High School the past 2 seasons and coached boys at North St. Paul and has coached in the North Tartan AAU program. He's happy to be in a good basketball school.
They love basketball. It's a basketball. I consider, no offense to other sports, but I consider boys basketball to be the face of this or just basketball in general, the face of this school. They love basketball. They play year-round. They're very passionate about it.
The Pirates were 14-13 last season, 1 year after playing in the state Class 4A final. They don't have a lot of varsity experience returning. Amani Hooker is the lone returning starter. That doesn't mean it won't be a good team.
Hustling, fast-paced, lock-in defense. We're not big, so we'll have to crash the boards.
Fantastic kids, really good kids, high character, play their tails off. They're gym rats. They're here early. They're here after. There's a bond there. There's a brotherhood there. Some of these kids have been playing together for a long, long, long time. It's been nothing but great.
We'll have a Pirates season opener against Brooklyn Center live on Channel 12 and 12.tv Tuesday night at 7. You can get your replay of the game Wednesday night at 7 here on Channel 12. The fall sports season ended Saturday with the final 3 games of the Prep Bowl. On this week's Sports Jam show on Channel 12, Jay Wilcox and I named the top players in football and volleyball on our Sports Jam all-area teams. Here's part of what you'll see.
We've loaded up our backfield with plenty of guys who can help us move the chains. Maple Grove's number 22, Clark Winnicky, set a single-season school record with 1,438 yards rushing, plus 17 touchdowns during the Crimson's 10-win season. He averaged over 30 yards on kick returns, too, and was named to the Minnesota Vikings All-State team.
Number 7, Adam Burge of Park Center, is another two-way standout. He had 42 tackles, 6 interceptions, including 2 returned for scores, 3 forced fumbles, and 3 fumble recoveries, including another TD return. Northern Illinois recruit Burge also caught 46 passes for 699 yards. Champlain Park sophomore Sidney Hilly is another superb player. A setter and big hitter for the Rebels. All-State and All-Metro pick Hilly had 533 kills and 503 assists, while leading the Rebels to the Northwest Suburban Conference and Section 5 3A titles. She's verbally committed to Wisconsin.
You can see the rest of those teams on Sports Jam. Watch it on Channel 12 and on the web at 12.tv through Wednesday at 3:30, 6:30, and 9:30 p.m. It's coming up Wednesday starting at 4. Highlights for some basketball and hockey around the area.
All right, thanks, John. Still ahead, you won't want to miss the inspiring story of a crystal mail carrier.
What she did to encourage the spirit of giving in a really big way when we come back. Well, finally, a letter carrier from Crystal is kicking off the holiday season in a big way.
Tanya Nelson recently started a Facebook page where people can adopt families down on their luck this holiday season. And as Cassie Bonstrom reports, in less than a week, the response has been overwhelming.
Everybody's just so nice, and they like to chit-chat, and their dogs are friendly.
For the past 5 years, Tanya Nelson has walked the same route, delivering not just letters and packages to these Crystal homes.
Hi, Gigi. Hi, baby girl.
But also a friendly smile and an open ear.
You know, you have the uniform on, and they just trust you. I'm glad they do because I consider them my friends.
It's on this route that a neighbor opened up and asked for help.
There's a family that just moved in a few months ago. I found out was a military family, and they're living on very little, and they have 5 girls ages 3 to 13. And that's where the idea really started. So this is my page.
She went home and created a Facebook group where families in need could connect with families looking to help.
I'm a widowed father of 2, a 17-year-old girl and a 10-year-old autistic boy.
Within days, the Adopt a Family Angels page lit up with requests.
I have 233 unread messages.
The response has left Tanya feeling both overwhelmed at the number of struggling families.
You know, they're not asking for like an Xbox for their kid, or they're asking for hats, scarves, boots.
And grateful for all those stepping up to lend a hand.
And it makes me very happy to know that there are still people out there that are willing to, without knowing who these people are, help. And that's a big thing. That's a big thing.
She never expected a simple conversation to touch so many hearts.
And I currently have my phone on vibrate. It just keeps going off and off and off with people wanting to help and people needing help.
But this letter carrier is glad that she can play a small role in delivering holiday cheer to those who need it most.
It's amazing. We have a lot of work to do.
In Crystal, I'm Cassie Bonstrom, 12 News.
Tanya is working as hard as she can to match families in hopes that one day she can turn this into a nonprofit organization. To learn more about her Facebook page, you can visit our website. That's 12.tv. That's an example of using social media for good, for sure.
Yeah, excellent. Good job.
Absolutely. That does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
Stay with us. Community Corner's up next. We'll see you again tomorrow beginning at 4.